All right, Larry Krueger outside Levi's Stadium for the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we recap everything that happened down here in Santa Clara on this Wednesday, September the 24th. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, two locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out, so get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them that Krug sent you. This 49er football season is also presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and of course Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, everything that happened down here on a Wednesday. Just finished watching practice. Man, there was a bunch of guys out. CJ West wasn't there. He's got a thumb injury. He had surgery, I believe. I don't know if he'll be able to cast it up and go this week. But he didn't practice on Wednesday. Ricky Pearsall also did not practice. Ricky's got some knee soreness. He did say in the locker room that he would go today if it were game day, but he's not practicing, expects to practice later in the week. Brock Purdy was practicing, though in a limited way. Mac Jones also was limited today at practice. Mac has a knee injury. Jones and Purdy and Adrian Martinez all shared first-team reps today at practice. Juwan Jennings remains out with an ankle and shoulder injury. Jordan Watkins is out with a calf injury. Yatir Gross-Matos is out with the knee. CMC got a veteran's rest day. Trent Williams the same. So that's the extent of the injuries. The surprise was Ricky Pearsall, who has some knee soreness from the game on Sunday. As I said, he didn't think it was too serious. He thought he would practice later in the week, and it doesn't sound like he's going to miss time. But, you know, football is painful, man. And, you know, you think you're okay on Sunday, and all of a sudden you sleep on it, and now you're not feeling that great. And it sounds like his knee is kind of barking at him right now. So anyway, he did not practice today, but he made it sound like it wasn't a big deal. As far as moves today, the 49ers made some moves. They promoted Robert Beal Jr. to the active roster. And this is a little bit of a surprise. I really thought they would have promoted Trevis Gibson. Gibson is the much more accomplished pass rusher of the two. Beal was their draft choice, and he's big and strong and fast. You know, 6'4", 260, sub 4.5 speed. I mean, Beal's always been kind of a freaky athlete. But Gibson's had a 7-sack season. And I'm really surprised that they activated Beal from the practice squad, but left Trevis Gibson on the practice squad. So we'll see. You know, maybe they'll give Beal a try, and maybe if he doesn't do it, maybe they'll give Gibson a try in the following game. But Robert Beal was the guy who was activated, or at least promoted to the active roster today off the practice squad. Niners had 2 defensive ends on their practice squad, and they promoted Beal over Gibson. The Niners also signed another player to their practice squad. They brought back William Bradley King, who was here in the summer and actually looked pretty good in the preseason at the end of the year. And that, you know, just another statement that, hey, look, do players play as hard as they can in that last preseason game? Because they're trying to put good film out there, and they're trying to show what they got. And William Bradley King in that last preseason game flashed. He showed he had some talent. The Niners filed that away, and they kept track. And when they had a need, they called him. And today they signed him to their practice squad. The Niners also signed safety Jalen Mahoney, who was an undrafted college free agent in the 2024 year. He's now back and on their practice squad as well. Mahoney's an interesting player. He seems like he's getting better and better, every time you see him. But he's just right there on the edge of an NFL roster, edge of a practice squad. The Niners have brought him back a couple times now. To make room on the practice squad, the Niners released safety Derek Canteen. So he was the low man on the pole. He gets released. Whether it's announced today or tomorrow, or whether it's finalized in the next day or so, Nick Bosa will be going to season-ending IR. That is not a surprise. Demarcus Robinson is back, and he served his 3-game suspension. You know, if there's one thing the 49ers lack, is they lack some explosives, both in the run game and in the pass game. And the one thing about Demarcus Robinson is he can provide explosives. He doesn't run really fast, but he's really good at getting down the field. Niners have until tomorrow to place him on the active roster. So they have one more day before they have to make that move. So they will make that move tomorrow. But Robinson practiced on Wednesday and looked good, looked really good. And I have a feeling that he's going to wind up being a significant player for them going forward, because he was a big player for them all summer. He might have been their best receiver most of training camp. I expect Robinson to step right in and produce. Couple other notes. CMC at his locker held court today, and I thought maybe the most interesting line was, he said the vibes have been pretty urgent since, you know, Bosa went down with the injury. So I'm really eager to see what the Niners look like Sunday against Jacksonville, because, you know, you lose a great player, everybody's got to step up. And CMC described that today, kind of an increased level of urgency. Fred Warner also spoke at his locker. He said, hey, look, I don't want to try to minimize things. You know, we lost a great player. You know, it's not like, oh, you know, there's a bright side. There is no bright side. There's no bright side when you lose a player the caliber of Nick Bosa. And Fred just said, hey, look, you know, we all just have to step up. He was asked, are you going to talk to Mikael Williams about, you know, his role now without Bosa? He's like, I don't feel the need to do that. He knows everybody's a big boy here. He knows that we need him now more than ever. So he gets it. Everybody gets it. Nick Bosa did reveal today that he does plan to return to the team after he has the surgery on the ACL. And that's, you know, some guys train with the team, some guys train away. But he says he's going to be here, and that's a great decision by him. And it's a great decision for the Niners. I mean, Nick Bosa is like having another really, really great defensive line coach. And they need him to coach up these young guys. And so I think that's a real positive, that Nick is going to stick around after the surgery, be here day to day, so he can try to coach these guys up and get them as good as he possibly can get them without playing, and Nick's got a ton of wisdom. One of the observations that I had today at practice is just that the same thing, I mentioned this last week, Brock Purdy, because of the soreness in the toe, he looks fine if you're just watching him, you know, throw passes. But because he can't get that toe down, the passes are sailing. And I'd say he left 3 or 4 kind of high today. And, that's his limitation. It's like he looks fine throwing it, but then on some of the throws, he leaves it a little high because he can't get his toe onto the ground with a level of force. And so it's affecting his mechanics and the ball's staying up high. I saw that the other day, but I saw it again today. So I got to think he's not playing this week. The toe isn't right. I know Mac is not 100%, but if I had to guess, I would guess Purdy sits again, and it's Mac Jones once again at quarterback. Because Brock had 3 or 4 passes that he just left high, and they were the kind of passes that normally he would never leave them up there like that, but he can't really plant. And so his release point's a little higher and the ball's sailing on him. Just my observation. Also today, Frank Gore and Alex Smith are among the first-time members for the Hall of Fame ballot. Other Niners on eligible include Joe Staley, Jeff Garcia, Ricky Waters, Vernon Davis, Anquan Bolden, Justin Smith, Navarro Bowman, Takeo Spikes, Lee Woodall, and Delaney Walker. I I would say Gore has the best chance of those guys by far. He's the third all-time leading rusher. Staley was a hell of a player, probably could make a claim to the Hall of Fame. Justin Smith maybe at some point could make a claim. But if you said, be a gambling man, who of those guys get in? I would say Frank Gore gets in and maybe nobody else. Maybe Joe Staley. Wouldn't that be something? Because I think, Frank Gore and Joe Staley were obviously part of the same Super Bowl team that Harbaugh brought to New Orleans for the Harbaugh Bowl. All right, that does it for our 49er breakdown. We are brought to you by Sleeper. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Join me tonight on YouTube on the KMBR channel for Niners Nightly. Steph Sanchez is going to stop by tonight. And then tomorrow night, Niners Nightly is back on the radio, and the great Matt Barrows is stopping by tomorrow night on Niners Nightly. Thanks to all of you for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.